When it comes to the FPS roguelike genre, there is no shortage of them. If I had to pick one that I believe is leagues above the rest, is Gunfire Reborn. I've talked about the early access version in the past, but in short, Gunfire Reborn is a pretty awesome roguelike shooter with a crap ton of weapons, characters, and overall great content. And for the price of $20, it's very hard to beat. With that said, we will be taking a look at Gunhead, which aims to take a shot at the genre and see what it can do. It is also the sequel to Cryptark, which was a 2D side-scrollers with a similar presence. Basically, you are a privateer who takes on various contracts to scour through alien ships and defeat various monsters. Is it another shooter worth giving a shot, or another one better left out the chamber? And just as a disclaimer, I did receive a free code from the developer and publisher Alien Trap. While I do appreciate the free code, it will not deter me from a fair and honest review. Sounds good? Let's begin. When you start up the game, you are given a cutscene that basically gives you a rough outline of what's going on. You are a privateer contracted by some agency to salvage alien technology. You're then given a pretty quick and painless tutorial on what the general flow of missions are and how to control your mech. It's pretty well done here and gets straight to the point. The game isn't too complex in terms of controls, so a short tutorial works well here. Once you're thrown into your first mission, your goal is to destroy the big brain of the ship. To do this, you'll need to take out the shield first and then head for the brain. Within each ship are many enemies and modules that you can run across. The modules can range from locked doors and alarms to sentry systems and factories. It's important to look at the map to know where all the modules are, as some of these ships can get pretty big. For the overall gunplay, it feels pretty good, although your mileage may vary depending on the gun you're using. You can equip up to 4 weapons at once, including melee weapons and a shield if you find one. My favorite weapons tend to be the shotgun and cannon variants due to their high damage output. Personally, I wasn't a fan of the laser weapons, as many of them had a very long cooldown before firing again. Considering the fast-paced nature of the combat, hopefully these guns can get a bit of a boost to its cooldown times. The enemy variety could use some work as well. Most of the enemies that you'll see are of the robot variety. You'll also see various turrets that can be taken down. The AI for the enemies is also pretty simplistic, either wandering around aimlessly or just running directly into you for an easy kill. For how often you come across the same enemies, it can lead to a feeling of repetitiveness way too early. Some missions will also feature traditional boss fights. For the most part, they are okay, but feel a bit uninspired. All these fights basically boil down to shoot boss and weak spot for any sort of damage. If you end up collecting some of the better weapons this game offers, these battles end up being a cakewalk. Completing a mission will bring up a summary and if you completed any of the secondary objectives. Secondary objectives award you with additional cash money, boy, but I never felt pressured to complete them. Most secondary objectives will probably be completed by just destroying everything on sight, while others involve a bit more finesse and grace. As expected for a roguelike, your money can be used to unlock various things. In this case, you can purchase new mechs and licenses for certain weapons and items to appear. When you do buy a license, you'll also get that weapon or item right then and there. There is an overall decent amount to buy, but I was shocked that there aren't any permanent upgrades to buy. Still, I would recommend you grab another mech once you have the money to do so. And speaking of buying things, this game gets much easier once you figure out the right combination. If you end up stockpiling cash like I did, you can buy some of the most powerful weapons to make it far easier to complete missions. As a matter of fact, it becomes too easy until the game decides to throw way too many enemies at you at once. Presentation wise, I really like the graphics of this game. I always enjoy when indie titles use stylized artwork to help stand out a bit. For the music, it's pretty okay. Most of the music only plays when you're in combat, which can be very quick depending on your arsenal. There's also a decent amount of voice acting here, which isn't too bad, especially for an indie title. For the overall polish, I haven't ran into any major game-breaking bugs. However, there were some weird floaty physics glitches that I've experienced. One was how I jumped and somehow got stuck on the ceiling. Thankfully, it was easily resolved by just jumping again. Performance was also pretty good, with a smooth frame rate during my time playing. Overall, Gunhead is a solid roguelike FPS, but I wouldn't say it's my first choice on a personal level. The weapon variety is decent, the gunplay is solid, and the graphics are gorgeous. The enemy variety unfortunately is a bit lacking, as well as the bosses that are present. It also suffers from what many roguelikes do in terms of how getting the right weapons, the right mech, and the right power-ups make the game a cakewalk. I definitely did have my fun, but at the $20 price point, that puts it neck and neck against more established games like Gunfire Reborn. I personally would recommend Gunfire Reborn over Gunhead any day, but feel free to give this one a try if you're looking for something a bit different. Either way, thank you all for watching, and this is Powerhouse, signing off.